messages we want to get out there, to setting them out there. So that's how important we are. Partnership, let us keep partnership going, because we have a commitment to always provide information to our people. It is the right of the Liberian people to be talked to by their government. We came to this ministry on the mantra of wanting to change this ministry for the better. And so before just going through some of the stuff we got to talk about briefly, before we present our main guest today, Dr. Emmanuel Urey Yarkpawolo, who is the Executive Director of the EPA. I just wanted to say, in furtherance of the promise we made, that the MICAT that we met here will certainly not be the same, and that we're very committed to change. We will shortly start a bidding process for the total refurbishment of the Ministry of Information Complex. Currently, we're contemplating on what will happen when that process starts. Because of the massive of the refurbishment work, we'll not be able to be using the building while we do the work. What that means is that we'll have to totally vacate current complex. And so holding that constant, each of you who are attached to the ministry are working with the different media institutions. When you are coming here to do your work, you will see the different ministry of information, the ministry that will look like something that has been rebuilt. This ministry is very old. I remember this is where ELBC started broadcasting from. So you can think about that. And then imagine how old this building is. When we got here, we promised change. Fortunately for us, it's not taking years to have that change made manifest. The change is now on the budge. We have support to ensure that total refurbishment will touch every part of the building, from the very top of the building, the roof, to air flow in here. When you enter the Ministry of Information, you will know you are the Ministry of Information. The fact that the President has made it a policy position that this is where the government will speak from, and that all of the different ministries and agencies are coming here to speak. It means this ministry has become somehow the face of our country and government. So I don't want people coming from VOA, from BBC, from everywhere, and they have to come and follow the government's communication initiative, and the first thing that happens is that the building itself will get depressed. I guess most of you who are coming here every day to cover us, when you come in and you look at it, they don't know the feedback. I just wanted to formally now say, as we promised, since we talked about that change, we should reflect in the way this ministry looks. It's now on the way. We do the bidding process, independent and very careful and transparent bidding process. We make sure the right entity is chosen to do the work we want to do here, so that at the end of the day, when you see this place, and you're convinced that we want to make a job. There's been a lot of noise in the country in the past about moving equipment around. So this revolutionized things in Liberia. We did promise that it was a focus of the government, an intervention that we're interested in, and we're not going to walk back on those interventions. In the coming days, we'll have more details to give you. But before we get ready to do the details, we just thought that we had to be, especially from the perspective of the Ministry of Information. We thought we needed to be proactive, and we thought that we need to do our best to be open and not dive into secrecy. So we thought it is important to first announce to you, members of the press and the Nigerian people, the actions have been taken. Let me just give you some perspective first. This year, Nigeria will celebrate 177 years of existence. Many of the countries around us got their independence in the 60s. Talking about 1847. Many of them are pretty young. But for those of you who had a chance to travel, and you are Liberian, some way, somehow, that will be ashamed. When you see what your country is in 177 years, compared to some countries that are just maybe 40 years old. So President Waka is firmly committed to changing this ugly history of our country. Many of you come from far places. I guess some of you journalists here, you from Riverside. If you never go to Riverside, even with the intervention, we're begging to keep our roads passable. You know, it's still a difficult journey. If you come from Buffalo County and you wanted to go there now, you know what it is. How can a country be 177 years old and still so much so disconnected? Small as the country is, traveling. Let me really appeal to you people. It's too many distractions when the press conferences are going, and immediately it comes from MICAT staff. But I will stop them moving around. So now think about this. And if there's anybody who's thinking deeply about that and who's concerned and wants to solve this problem, it's President Waka. Otherwise, Minister, I have listened to him a bit just this morning again, and he has explained the interventions they are making everywhere. He has assured us, all of us, including myself, who speaks for the government, that the Waka administration will not leave this country without all of our country capitals being connected with paid for. He's said to be a legacy president. Paper work has been ongoing between Downtown to Tapeta. He just announced that immediately we are putting the paper from that point straight, trying to link the rest of the country to Kawakin, where the road coming from Upper South reached. And he was clear that subsequently you will be able to drive on a paved road from a road straight to Upper Maryland County. But we realize that while those processes are on, the country has to be accessible. And that is linked to the president, no car gets stuck in the mud mantra. So I just wanted to say, as I explained this, that beginning today, the moving equipment that were meant to keep our road passable have started to arrive. It will take a couple of trips because of the nature of our port, which restricts to some extent the size of vessels that can berth at the port, especially talking about vessel bringing such heavy moving equipment. So it will take a couple of trips. And taking a couple of trips will mean a couple of weeks or probably months. But the good news is the arrival process started. What is that supposed to mean for our country? Maintenance zones will exist in all of our counties. All 4 of those counties will have 2 maintenance zones because of their size. Nimba, Lofa, Bomb. In Bassa, we have 2 maintenance zones. Estimated around 19 pieces of mobile equipment per zone. You can imagine what that would be. A complete revolution. Until those roads are paved, what that also means is that we can travel in all of our country, everywhere around our country, with absolute ease. But here's the most important part. The roads are good and the commitment is unwavering. But here's another good part about these machines. Many of our people in rural Liberia are farmers. They use so much energy. Spread farms, cut down trees, and do all kinds of stuff. The government's commitment and plan is that a set of those equipment that will be deployed in the country will be set aside to enhance the efficiency of farmers. So, for example, Jerome as a farmer in somewhere in Grand Bassa County, he doesn't have to be worried about cutting or breaking his farm. Those machines from government will make those interventions. You see your farm land clear with no cost to you. They gotta focus on getting the crops. What a revolution that is. It will enhance and improve food production in addition to enabling us to be able to travel freely in and around our country. Let me just say some of the stuff on road as we're talking about that. I will run over there because sometimes the detractors will keep themselves busy trying to convince people who don't need it. Some looking for old pictures of years back of cars stopped in mobs and putting it around Facebook. Who are you misleading? If you post something that you say this is, for example, the road in the Grand here. The folks who live in Grand here, they are aware that they're even using keke on the road. Until you fool yourself. Because the man who's experiencing the thing you're trying to mislead him. Some people who posting those things, they've not left on the road for the past 5 years. They don't even know how outside of on the road. But they're trying to tell the man who is living there, the man who is getting into a keke from one point to another, they're trying to tell the man, this is why the condition looks at the way you are. It's trying your credibility. Nobody will take you serious. The foundation of it is all about lies. Nobody takes you serious. So we just sit somewhere and watch and say, let them go ahead and destroy themselves. And the one who mentioned I listened to him this morning, he said, look, asphalt pavement starts from Capital to Sweden. And then the fish tank, that's about 375 kilometers. And that starts, according to him, at the end of this year. That's when all the plenty of rain will start. And he said it will run straight into 2025. So finally, the Liberia country will be connected to Monrovia by payroll, he says. Banga to Sarajevo will be completed by May next year. I'm talking about putting Calipino to payroll. And then the discussion for the extension to Konya is also going my historic ongoing. But it's clear that those corridors will be connected before President Ouattara leaves power. What a legacy president he will be. Full feasibility study is being conducted by the African Development Bank. There's a set stage of some sort of associating the funding in the bank. I mean, the African Development Bank is led demonstrate a potential funder for that section of the road. They did a great job in the Southeast. Most of the pavement you see growing is by the African Development Bank. They're still engaged with us. For the much talk about Coastal Highway that was heralded by the past administration, we're supposed to move from MICAT to Cester and to Greenville. This ability to study is ongoing, which means it's a target by the government as well. Look, what you all will be experiencing is something that I would want to describe as a spokesperson in the government as a development proposal. You are accept it. But if it pains you, labor it pains. I mean, something can be wrong, right? Some people say they're angry or good use in their country. Because it's not them. Good things are not supposed to happen when you are in charge. So for the sake of your political dissatisfaction, the country should remain down until it's you. You need to get thinking about yourselves and the people. If your goal is about the people, it doesn't matter whether you're in charge or not. Oh, I remember when President came to power, I come from Grand Pastor that way. It used to take me 5 hours from a regular weekend. The flow was non-existent. When our situation changed, I was in the every weekend. So we got to look, we got to embrace the transformation of our country. By the special grace of God, we've got a president now who's ready to lead the charge and who have been able to recruit able lieutenants from the dedicated, helping him lead that change. I mean, that police squad, how many of you in the whole here who been covering the ministry from Charlie Kington? I think we are on the Baga administration and the current minister who changed the whole place in 1 year. Back in the day, also somebody was saying that's what happened because it's not there. You know how? I went there before I know that the minister, acting minister, you know how we fought to change the building to then repair? It didn't work. But from the experience of that time, if I see a leader today who has stood by the team and is not ensuring that changing that has not happened in decades and decades and decades and decades happening in 1 year. If it was not complete, you. And we are marching to Zion, the God's coming. And all of you should be stakeholders. Sometimes, and some of you, many of you are good people, but some of the media entities, it's bad. Negativity, creating one story after the other. Sometimes no regret. Even if you find a fact that this story here is not correct, yeah, the man will still stand by his story. If somebody who has reported that your labor Pierre is dead. Then he walks, he comes and he sees the man living. He talks to you, you say, I still stand on my story. We're gonna generate him. And that brings me to what looks like a small campaign against the Minister of Labor. And we don't take this thing to say that personal issue yet anybody. Somebody is an official of the government, doing something wrong, and reporting we embrace it because we want you to help us to find people who are doing bad. But if it is just an attempt to smear people campaign, then we are on obligation to talk about it, not necessarily as a defense for the person, just to put things in context. The suggestion that Councillor Cry is involved in quote-unquote conflict of interest. So that is because a law firm that is supposed to be representing the NPA, Cry is supposed to be linked to that law firm. First of all, the law firm in question was established in 1944. Established by the late Speaker of the House of Representatives, Richard Henrys. In 2001, that law firm entered a retainership with the National Court Authority. There's a retainership between you and somebody that may represent your legal interests. And even in the last 6 years, that retainership was there. In the very last 6 years, Capital Cry was minister in the government. Nobody saw that one. But even though the law firm is called Henry Cry and something else, that Cry is not considered a Cry. The Cry family is a family that can wake up in the morning, they have law for breakfast, for lunch, for dinner. Beyond his daughter, who is also invited, I don't know whether she has graduated already from Columbia, there's a son called Prince Cry, who's a lawyer, who's an associate of the law firm. And he has been there since 2001. So, how now a retainership that has existed since that time is now supposed to be considered a cry of quote unquote conflict of interest? And this is coming on the wheels of the group of persons who were dismissed by the MPA management, going to court, suing for over $1 million damage, and the case thrown out of the court by the civil law court. So, Councillor Kraft, the Minister of Labour, is not involved in conflict of interest because the retainership between the MPA and the law firm predates him. He predates his involvement as a minister in the real government. How can that be an issue now? It can appear to just be attacked. Everything, Councillor Cry. It was something we just Councillor Cry. What is Councillor Cry? If you found a real issue with him, bring it up. If you not found one, start knocking the problem. This is just not right. Let our generation be based on truth because it helps the country. As we are aware, our Vice President, the Honorable Jeremiah Plancon, is currently in Barcelona, Spain, and he's attending the Africa Energy Forum. Updates we received from the Vice President and his team at the meeting is that the World Bank announced their approval of the disbursement of $45 million for Liberia's renewable energy program. Renewable energy, as we all know, is basically about solar energy, which is environmentally safe. And even probably where we don't have any LEC, every day I still a generator home. It's making noise in my ear, but it's also making smoke. Solar energy solves that problem. There's a focus to invest in solar energy. And $45 million from the World Bank towards such a project. It's good and we celebrate that. But all the announcements signify a major step forward in our quest to advance renewable energy in Liberia. The project will finance the first 20 megawatt solar photo project and the expansion of the Mount Coffee hydro plant, increasing the capacity from 88 megawatts to 129 megawatts. It will really significantly solve our energy problem. The total budget for the project is at around $96 million, and the initial contribution in this amount is something that we celebrate as a country, and we will thank the Vice President who's ably representing our country in Spain for the putsch. Asset declaration. I just want to say a little bit about it because sometimes we don't celebrate the good things. President Waka, upon coming to power, I think in 3 weeks, clearly asset. When you read the asset declaration, you realize that as the law requires, he signed his asset declaration prior to being inaugurated as president. Because that's what the law really says. So he put his gross annual income at around 13,000. And that became an issue of honesty versus dishonesty. Vice President gross annual income while he was in office, he was making $870 per month and 35,000 LD. Combine the both over a period of 12 months, that's exactly the figure that is in it. They didn't even know what he would be making as president. And what he's supposed to be making as president in that constitution, I said, it's not for him. There's no measurement of that. And so part of the reason is that's why with engagement with the LACC, the focus has been on how to rework the form that's been used. And so I even me took some time to declare my answer because the form appears complicated. So all these things are no mix up. You know, things are changing and you can improve upon things regularly. In my opinion, there will be a need to revisit our form and make it contemporary and easier. Because I think the complication of the form is what sometimes confuses people to get things wrong with issues that we have to occur. So the president asset, there was no attempt to get basic information. If you read a code of conduct that requires public officials to declare asset, it's clear. Anybody who has doubt that what really is supposed to happen can just take some time to read about it. One of the things that have helped us is we try to make our security sector overly responsible. And one of the groups that have been doing so well is the AFL. They say the AFL is a force for good. It's true. If you see how prompt they are in trying to deal with people who have excesses, it tells you they are not prepared to tolerate an inch of behaviors that are inconsistent with the values the AFL stands for. So there's been some exposure from the AFL. And I know it's already widely publicized, but the only thing we wanted to say about that is to say that is a clear manifestation that the AFL, especially with the leadership of the current High Command, and with administrative responsibility for the Ministry of National Defense, must and will remain that force for good. And the government is pleased with the fact that the High Command of the Armed Forces is not taking anything for granted. And they are acting in lawful ways that will ensure that the AFL remains the force for good. I'm sure you know the individuals who were kicked out of the AFL, or they've been discharged because they were involved in drug business and control crisis in our country. So we cannot countenance for 1 inch people who are security personnel, especially members of the armed forces of Liberia, will get involved in such things. So probably first class project for disability and Ibrahim Dolo were all discharged from the armed forces for their involvement in drugs matter. 10 years for that action. Having said that, in conclusion, I will few introductory comments I wanted to make. I would like to invite my friend and brother, Dr. Emmanuel Urey Yarkpawolo, Executive Director of the EPA, who will now talk to me.
So he's the Minister of Information, Cultural Affairs and Tourism, Minister of Tourism, MICAT, giving his introductory comments here to the Ministry of Information, Cultural Affairs and Tourism regular Thursday press briefing. And today our official guest is Dr. Emmanuel Urey Yarkpawolo, Executive of the Environmental Protection Agency of Liberia. This is every online comes to live from the
Just briefly about
on Capital Hill Relations Capital Manager.
We'll focus on the violations of the environmental protection law of Liberia and what are we doing about it. I think that's really what the question about the time here is. Briefly, the EPA is doing well. Since we took over, the staff are working really hard. One of the called circumstances to enforce the law of Liberia. Our voices are heard in international discussions, the UN climate change and the rest of it. We spend some time in Germany a lot of time. We just also want to see something very sad news that occurred quite recently. One of our employees, one of our crowd, and drivers sometimes, I can't get back to that slide now. He passed away in one of the clinics. It was really very sad. So the family is mourning right now, along with other members of the EPA as well. We have had some sad situation there. But we are grieving at the same time we are working. So we're going to present a slide. Our presentation basically will be viewing a slide because we want you to see some of the things we're talking about. Thank you. So let's get to the next slide now. We will briefly talk about the importance of wetlands and what that means for our country. Liberia and other cities in Liberia have been suffering from flood. We want to talk about that and what the EPA is doing. And the question, the issue is companies and individuals that are violating the environmental laws of Liberia and what we are doing about it. We can get some conclusions and hopefully we can get a few questions at the end. That's the purpose about it. So the importance of wetland, and wetland is very important. These are places that are normally wet, swamp, lake area, estuaries, area where we have mangrove swamps. These are areas that absorb water, breeding places for fish, and they present to us a host of what we call ecosystem services. Services that we may not be able to get yet, like in a monetary term. Take for instance the source to drink clean water is an ecosystem service. Even the fish together as well. It is estimated that globally, wetland and the kind of services it represents us is about $47 trillion. There's a particular type of wetland in the world, but also in Liberia called mangrove. If we take it around mangrove in Liberia, we can generate up to close to $100 million a year. From that, they serve as carbon sink. That's a whole topic we can get into. We don't have much time to go through the detail, but it's very important. What we see is that we see a picture of a wetland right there, but we can flip to the next slide. What we do see is that the wetland has been degraded so much so. And there are several reasons for that. You know, Monrovia particularly is overpopulated. Years of civil war and a lot of migration into the city. So a lot more people, and people have to find places to construct homes and the rest of it. But something that we want to bring in the form of education to the public, like dry heights, dry and rainy season. During the dry season that is much more prolonged, especially in December and January, a lot of wetland area will become really dry. And suddenly, so a lot of people will start to build in those areas, not knowing that sooner or later the whole place will be forest. So is particularly ignorance of the landscape and trying to navigate between rainy season and dry season. I know a friend of mine in the States wanted to buy a land somewhere on a larger highway. He sent me to go look there, but the landowner was taking me there in August, who had initially built a foundation in that area during the dry season. On our way there, the girl who was about to sell the land, because she gave up the amount of water. But the previous dry land, she built a foundation. The gentlemen were trying to purchase the foundation of the land. Of course, the project did not go through. But I just talking about the difference between the dry land, the dry season and the rainy season that causes some of this problem. Climate change, of course, increase in flood, increase in rainy season or dry season. West Point here been threatened, but we are happy to report that there is funding to be able to prevent West Point. So some work will start there, the research work is going. Government has made some good money available as counter funding from some international funding to help us to be able to save West Point. So some of the work they are going on. But you are literally man-made for when you plant to finish. The issue of plastics and using the finishes as area of dumping ground. It is very bad, and we're asking the citizens to please help us because it's pervasive, it's all over the place. When you do that, the water needs to go through the drainage system to get plugged. And where you expect the water to go, it will find a way somewhere. The same way if you fill in a wetland, the swamp, you use it as a dumping ground, and the rest of it, you're really doing that. And we are getting poorer because of that. Because when flow water goes into a home, it can really destroy the whole place. So asking the citizens to help us, and that's the reason why we are encouraging community clubs for communities to come together and form themselves into a group that we can be able to support. So the thing matters into their own hands. So if somebody wants to build in your swimming and your home, you will prevent them. And you can be able to collect your trash and the rest of it. So we are encouraging the community to come together, both for community clubs. We already started establishing some school. So the picture you see there is represented Anders, Senna, and they're showing the type of flooding situation and the rest of the pictures. But what are we doing about it? We can discuss the problem in the next slide. What the EPA is doing about it. So we are careful mapping of wetlands and we want to just introduce the person official that came here and but Dara, at some point, he will speak with John because he's the chair for the Department of Compliance. He leads most of the efforts. And what about folks who are working at the EPA as well? But we are mapping up the hotspot area and we're developing a kind of flood vulnerability map as well. We are enhancing community efforts. Carry on massive awareness in other areas. We are putting in, a signboard that do not do this here, and so as to serve as deterrents. Other areas we have actually gone and demolished some other structures in the wetland. We are doing that. But there are still challenges because many people are involved with it. So at some point, we're going to be asking the national police to help us, and also the Minister of Justice in terms of court actions and the rest of it. And the pictures on the right are just from our awareness and our environmental officers conducting some training in the post of future. Next slide, please. The main issue of today is deterrence. Laws are made to guide human interactions. Without law, in most instances, there will be conflicts. But if laws are not enforced, it seems to be that there is no law that will come up with the same problems. And so His Excellency, those of you who work, I instructed all of us, no more business as usual, do things different. Enforce the law of Liberia. Because it's only through that we get the needed development we're talking about. In fact, the data clearly shows one of the things that cause people to be bored and countries not to progress is failure to enforce the law. You can clearly see that between the developed country and the underdeveloped countries. In most instances, developed countries enforce their law. We don't. So under the mandate of our president, we are going to go ahead and enforce the law. Let's go ahead to the next one. Today we're going to be showing you violation taking place mostly in Baton County, and we'll show a few in Missouri. But later on, we're going to be covering the entire country. Companies, especially companies class B mining companies, is getting out of hands. They are all in the forest. They don't have anything. They don't have any permit. One example is this company, JM Mining Company Incorporated in Baton County. The company has been operating at Class B gold mine since March of this year. The company does not have any environmental permits. The way it works is that even at least in mine, if you're getting your mineral development agreement, you're going to care for your mine, you come to the EPA and we give the environmental permit. But prior to that, you conduct environmental impact assessment. And our permit will have a guideline under which you can operate. And we can use that to monitor activities. JM Mining Company does not have that. And so they directed the river, the Mahel River, they directed the river at their own will. And residents are accusing them of using mercury. We can go into long-term impact of mercury, both on the environment but on the human population as well. And so the company action has led to huge deposit of sediment in the Mahel River. And the residents are really finding it difficult to be able to get water. Lab mode violation, you can see two pictures there. Flip to the next slide. So these are the law they are violated, and they are monitored fine that they need to pay. We have had informal talk with the LRA, and so when these fines are imposed as ruling, we'll compile the list and give it to the LRA, Mr. And his team will go after the violators to pay the government, to pay the money in the government revenue. So water pollution caused by diversion of waterways and sediment deposition, you can see that's section 61 of the Environmental Protection Law under the title Water Pollution Prohibitors. The fine is $50,000 United States dollars. Discharging affluents without affluent discharge license, again that's another license that's going to come with second condition. That's section 57 of the law. The fine is about $5,000. And we can list in failure to apply and obtain affluent discharge permit, violating section 58 of our law is equivalent to a maximum fine of $15,000. Operating without license, that's $25,000. So this company fined $95,000 for their violation. And we are taking on the maximum fine as in the law because we want it to serve as a deterrent to their behavior. Next, please. Look at that picture over there. Look at how muddy that water is. everything, a mess up over there. They don't have time. That's a Rwanda operator dual multi-purpose company, again operating in Buffalo County. Company operating at Class B, gold mine in Buffalo County. Again, the company does not have the environmental permit. The company has completed mining activities at 2 sites and they moved to a third. The company activities at the new site have caused massive sediment deposits into a creek. The previous 2 sites were abandoned without any form of restoration. And many more just summarizing. And so if we go through all the violations as well, when you see the violation, the fine is multiplied by 2, it means violation is 2 different locations. Every location, you should conduct environmental impact assessment and get permit. For any time you go to a new location, even if you are a rental permit, you get 1 permit and start using it all over. They are quite informed of that. So again, we summarize all of their violations for $140,000. This is going to pay as government fine. Move to the next. The Scott Investment Incorporated in Buffalo. Again, you can see the picture, you see the level of destruction in our forest. The company operated a Class B gold mine. The company has completed mining at 5 different camps and then they moved to a new one. The company used a single EPA license to try to cover the rest, which is not the way to do it. They diverted the river as well. And they abandoned the other one. It's like you dig the hole, your mineral finish here, you don't have time, you move to a new location without any type of regard or law. Catalog all of their violations. That amount to $400,000. That's what you need to pay by law. And so we want our fine from that company. Next. This company has been in the news more extensive for the wrong reason. Our Chico Resources Nigeria Limited in Buffalo County. They operate iron ore mining company. They have environmental permits, but they don't have permits for affluent discharge. There's another one. And so they venture on lot more. There are three mining pits, and all are surrounded by wetlands, huge sediment deposits in the nearby river. There are about 3 communities situated within close proximity of the company operation. The company has not submitted their monitoring report that they need to do periodically. See some pictures of their operation. And they too are hereby fined. Per the law, remember, we're very transparent about this. We're not making up any stuff. This is literally taken from the law. From the law, they are fined $135,000 that they need to pay. It's important. Get to the next one. China Union Investment in Bond County, another company. The company operates an iron ore mine. We all know that. They transport it to Monrovia, who are transported to the free port of Monrovia. The company is operating without environmental permits and affluent discharge permits. They don't have any. You wouldn't mind such a big company will come and operate without the kind of fundamental document they need to have in their possessions, so as to follow their work and make sure they do it properly. Company has commenced the construction of a new processing plant without any form of permit. You have previously constructed a million tilling processing plant, again without permit, without permit. And the pictures over there showing as to their outpoints, how they discharging in that creek and how they messing the whole place. China Union, based on their violation, they are here by law, fined total sum of $120,000. Next. This one is in Monrovia, somewhere in the Fiamma community. It's a private property. That's the Jimmy E. Quella private facility in Monrovia. So, proponent means we're talking about a company. When you say proponent in the law, we're talking about like the client. They buy field, the wetland, they carry on construction without any form of permit, and when that construction work is completed, we foresee that flooding situations will be increased in the area. They are buy field in the wetland, which is bad. And we go to the punishment by law. Hereby fine on the environmental law to the sum of $50,000. Next. This full construction company in Monrovia, this is located on the SKD Boulevard Road. That area have been getting out of flooding in recent time. And they have constructed that building in the floodplain, which is in violation. Not only that we plan them, but we will be asking them to discontinue that particular effort for them. And their violation amounts to $25,000. On March 5th, when we took over the EPA, just barely 3 weeks, we issued similar fine as well. And that was imposed on East International, the one that is dealing with the What mining company, Blackstone Mining. And then we also did it, the other subsidiary of East called Benju. Benju was put actually. We're continuing that because of some other work, negotiation we have with the other work that's unfinished. Other will carry also restoration work. We're getting to a point, their closure will prevent the construction of the road. And so we'll have to have some discussion. But it amounted to over almost $71,000. So that's $70,998. That's what we imposed the last time. And today, next slide. If we add all, is equal to $5,000. What we're doing with this is that we comply the letter, take all the letter, carry to LRA. LRA can help us to impose the fines. I think we take these decisions not because we don't like development. We definitely like development. We want our people to find jobs and the rest of it. But at least it has to be in compliance with the law. Companies are scattered all over Liberia. They are degrading our land, and they are damaging our rivers. And they will go. When they think about the mineral when they finish, you don't stay there. But people have inhabited the land for a very long time. And our people will continue to be there. What is there for them? So that's why we are taking some of the hard decisions, simply because, again, we have a president who is serious about enforcing laws, and he has mandated us to do likewise. And so the public is advised to avoid acts that tend to pollute the environment. Building in waterways is very bad, backfilling wetland is unlawful. Diversion of waterways, construction and operation without EPA permits or approval. Cutting of the mangrove is bad. We're asking you to stop. And the EPA will remain committed to work with the public in ensuring a clean, safe, and healthy environment for all. Once again, members of the press, that'll take up the time, but we are working at the EPA and to support the government efforts. And we'll continue to name and shame some of the companies publicly. And if they don't obey our law, we can take it further by renting at an international level so that they have repetitional breaks. And so that will force them to comply with our law, in addition to other things we're doing here today. The EPA is here to ensure that we have a clean environment. We're asking all to support us so that at the end, we'll have a better country and we all can live and be prosperous. Honorable Minister, thank you for being on the platform. We say thank you very much.
So, it's Dr. Urey Yarkpawolo, who is the Executive Director of the Environmental Protection Agency, giving out his analysis on
We'll have a seat.
the work done so far as the
Entertain questions
agency.
from the
Again,
press.
from myself.
Again, we encourage you to
Thanks everyone
please
for watching the online
attach your
television.
questions to the issues
Today is Thursday,
about violations of
the
the
regular press briefing.
EPA regulation as
At the
placed
Ministry of
by
Information and Culture Affairs
the Honorable
Tourism.
Man. We'll take 4 questions at a time. The speaker, please begin.
So now the question has appeared.
Thank you. I'm Domingo Dame. My question goes to the Minister of Information. Mr. Minister, you announced to Liberians recently that all of those processes that are required in purchasing those yellow machines were being worked on, passing through the legislature. I want to know if those requirements and those processes were met. If yes, what are some of those steps the government took in making sure those machines were purchased before the machines started arriving in the country? And where are some of those machines located that journalists can go to make sure they see those machines before going on and publishing the stories? Thank you. Thank you so much, Minister and the EPA for coming. My name is Strokon Flama and I report for Strong FM and Strong TV. Just concerned quickly, we'd like to know the total number of companies and private structures you found so far for violating the EPA Act. And B to that, we want to know because just announcing the fine and saying that you reach out to the Liberia Revenue Authority to be able to enforce. Can you just give us maybe the timeline that these fine will be enforced so that they can be able to pay in government revenue? And lastly, to the EPA, aside from fine and all of that, what other things are you recommending or what awareness you've been creating to ensure that companies and people who are building desist from doing so? And lastly, to the Minister of Information, the social media has been flooded by photos of of the buses that were brought for testing. Has there been any deal consummated between the government of Liberia and the bus company? Yeah, my question goes to EPA. My name is Emmanuel Urey Yarkpawolo. I'm a journalist. Yeah, Mr. Director, when we were in secondary school, sorry, I'll take you back there. When we were in secondary school, sometimes we don't have questions for the teacher, or we have questions. We want to call it class up, we say, no explanation, answer our question, teacher. But here is a simple question. Sometimes we see work order, say stop work by EPA. And in a subsequent time, you will see the construction, whatever activity has been going on there has been completed, fully completed. What is your take on that?
So we just take the last question for the day.
Thank you. Mr. President, good afternoon to you, the Director of the EPA. My name is Wise Emmanuel. I report for LBO Land Television. My question goes to the Director. Director, what are you doing or what are your plans for constructing structure over the Blue River for latrine uses?
Maybe? Okay, answer that.
Wonderful. Thank you very much. Compliance here with me, so I would like you to take one or two of the questions that you asked. The rundown, please. You can take some of the questions and I'll add.
So I will just begin from the last question that talks about constructing or improving. As you may know, this is issue in much as it leads to environmental pollution, but it's sanitary related. So the EPA, of course, is working along with the WASH Commission, because the WASH Commission is responsible to ensure that sustainable sanitary facilities are provided, especially when it comes to the issue of disposal of feces and all that. And as you may also be aware, Monrovia as a city was constructed on a zero waste system that was designed at FEMA that is being regulated by the Liberia Water and Sewer Corporation. We don't know over time that there have been, because of the population in Monrovia have gone beyond the expected limit for which the city was designed. That's why we see this thing happen. So to be able to address this kind of issue, the EPA is of course working along with other institutional government who have this mandate to be able to deal with this. With regards to the issue of wetlands, the abuse, what the EPA is doing and also working along with public works, we initially mapped out in 2019 we had about 18 wetland hotspots. Coming to the period of 2024, we now see that our hotspot have almost quadrupled to 30 plus. So the EPA is carrying on what we call floor plume maps. On the basis of those floor plume maps, we are trying to see how best we can also be able to engage, of course, with various partners that will continue to carry on firstly awareness and education to various communities for places wherein that those construction activities are going to lead to serious disastrous issue. Of course, the EP will be undertaking innovation action. But the issue of awareness and continued engagement are very key. Our long-term plan is to see how we can also be able to develop, a wetland management plan that will guide the need for the likely passing of that the ED will speak on about that moratorium, and how we can also be able to demarcate and set buffer for these wetlands. Because the issue of the wetland here, we have different categories. Some of the wetlands that are within immediate facility or some river bodies, they are not saturated year round. We see that those are the ones sometimes are convinced people, they think that dry and they come and build. They need to be guarded by the standards and regulation. But for those wetlands that are saturated well year round, that have huge bamboo species that provide breeding ground for various mammals or various birds, and of course for fishes to be able to lay their eggs, for places like that is where we're going to be coming on to ensure that we can be able to demarcate those respective people. That's it.
Wonderful. Thank you very much, Mr. Jala. The question, that particular question of, why is it that you will stop order and you will not be obeyed? So those are some of the challenges, but there is a need to have clarity on the ownership. The ownership of wetland is inherent in the government. But over time, or before even we came to the EPA, state governments in the past, local government officials, and some private individuals, they've been selling wetland. And so some of the places are called by deed. When you get to that point now, enforcement becomes very, very tricky. Because by the virtue of the possessed register, you go through a court action to reverse that. The process takes some time to do that when you look at the way the court system works here. That is why we are advocating for a robust legal unit at the EPA, which we don't have at the moment. So we are adhering, talking to say that we need that because we'll be able to fast track. The environmental law also talk about establishment of environmental court. And that is on our radar. It will take some time that we're going to work within the government circle and the judiciary to make sure that is effectuated. So I get your point, but going forward, we'll pay more attention to those kind of behavior that if we put a stop order, we'll make sure we put a mechanism to enforce it. The violators need to be taken to court, and the court can be able to enforce the staff order. But I think Jara answered most of the questions in terms of the total number of fine imposed. At least since I took over, that's what I showed. I think the first one out of 3 and the one today, but I'll go back and count them before I can go to the total in my head right now. But I summarized the first one and the one we imposed today. Since I've been at the EPA, especially after the Supreme ruling, of course, those are the ones we've been working on. So we are asking everyone to help us, and especially the citizens, help us so that we help ourselves. Trash collection, putting trash in village is bad, and constructing in the wetland is bad. Tilling in a swamp to say I'm going to build my house is bad. You're going to submerge, the water is coming, it's going to be a problem for you. It's better you be patient and find a better place than to try to use a swamp. Don't do that in a swamp. Thank you.
So, okay. Dr. Urey Yarkpawolo, anything, question and answer here.
So when I took the podium, knowing what I came to say. I said exactly what I needed to say. What I needed to say first and foremost was to announce that the bosses, the chains started to arrive. I was very clear that it is an initial action on our part. There will be continuous engagement and conversation in providing more information on where we are. And that will not change because somebody has an opportunity to say, wow, I'm not ready. So what are the processes we follow? What are those processes? Those conversations will unfold in the days ahead. What I wanted you to know today